This is The Roadmap with Lee Highsmith.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Roadmap, exclusively here on ASBN.com. I'm Lee Highsmith. Every week, we bring you some of the brightest and best entrepreneurs, CEOs, and business owners who are climbing the ladder, scaling their businesses, and thinking about how one day to exit stage left. Today, we have a very special guest, my very good friend, Tony Rouse. Tony, welcome to the show.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me, Lee.
Tony Rouse with Meet Tony Rouse. Tony, listen, anytime I meet you, when I first met you to every single time that I meet you like today, my energy level goes up tenfold because I always get something back from you, and that's kind of part of your entrepreneurial spirit. So if you don't mind, take a moment and share with our viewers, talk about your entrepreneurial spirit and talk about, when you got into the entrepreneurial bug and when it bit you, and then kind of go into a little bit about your next phase of where you are in your business career.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. So entrepreneurial spirit, I think, I've always had it in some form. Has it been active? Nah. But probably within the last 6 or 7 years or so, that's when we really dove in. Because I had this big dream that I actually wanted to build a hotel. And the funny thing about it, it's this is what I want to do, but at the time, I didn't have any hotel money, no hotel experience. How are we even going to get to this place? And what ended up happening, it was just one of those where I go in before I go out, meaning I go inward. So I prayed about it, honestly. And I was just like, God, hey, I want to do a hotel. I have no clue. And I heard the word candle. And then I was like, okay, this is completely weird.
So you're going to say you wanted to go hotel and you then heard the word candle.
Exactly.
Because we're getting to the juice here.
So I heard the word candle and I was like, this makes no sense to me. How does this even, two and two together? But then I realized, I'm like, well, I don't have any other game plan. Let's try it. And what I said was, if I made one, I would make it smell like this. And that's how we started. And I want to show you, real entrepreneurship. I literally sent an email to 11 of my friends of saying, hey, I want to do this thing. It's a candle. If anybody's interested, you could buy one. And we're selling them at that time, we're selling $55 a piece. So we came out the gate, already kind of creating
some of the names of your brand, because if you look up your website, meettonyrouse.com, the names of your candles, the scents, and I like the way you sent an email, you S-E-N-T the email, you didn't S-C-E-N-T.
Funny enough, the name of the first candle was S-C-E-N-T though.
Ooh,
yeah,
okay.
You're on it. But yeah, that's what we did. Send an email. And the thing is, with anything, with entrepreneur, you start with where you are. Start with your circle. That's what we did. We reached out, said, hey, this is what we're trying to do.
Well, take a step back because I don't want to jump too far. It's too easy I know so many successful entrepreneurs like yourself that just say, we just started this. How are you making the candle? How were you producing it at first? Were you doing it in your kitchen?
Yeah, we started so funny enough, previously before that, probably at that point it was 7 years before that, I had my background is in marketing and branding. So I served as a brand advocate and a brand ambassador for a French parfum company. Got put in one of the high-end stores in Atlanta, and then I actually had to create sales for them. And so what I did, I studied the top three fragrance brands on the market at the time, putting together a package to make sure the company I was working for could actually, come to market with something great. Little did I know that 7 years later, I was actually going to have my own eponymous line based off of the experience that I had. How I learned how to do fragrance, I can't even tell you. I just started mixing stuff together. Sometimes I heard notes, other things I've just been exposed to it. And what I did though, this is probably just a quick hack, I took all the fragrances that I liked, and I'm like, there has to be a underlining thing that resonates here. And so what I did, I started cross-referencing all the notes from the fragrances that I would purchase anyway. I was like, oh, this shows up a couple times, which was bergamot. Patchouli kept showing. I'm like, maybe I really like bergamot patchouli.
So bergamot, patchouli, you know all these smells.
Yeah, they're typically the baseline for mostly of what I do, just because, again, I like fresh dirt. Because patchouli is like an earthy smell. Bergamot is actually a citrus that's it's a cross between a lime and a lemon, kind of all mashed together in one. It's different, but it's strong in fragrance. But if you put two and two together, it's like fresh dirt in terms of what it is. And that's the basis for our stuff in a lot of ways. And so, we just started. And once you start doing something, you start making it happen. But to your point, we started very scrappy. Having to figure stuff out. The internet, Google is your best friend when it comes to getting stuff built out. And I think the one thing you mentioned about the entrepreneurial spirit, I think the one thing that's necessary, you got to have grit. You got to have an ability to say, you know what, I'm not going to quit. And I think that's what I had to learn. There have been many points where it was super low for me. And what I realized was I was stronger than I thought I was. I was tougher than I thought I was. And I knew how to get back up. And there was points I got beat down. I'm not even going to front about that. There were times where it's how are we even going to make this thing even into something? But it's what we would tell people, even when you have people that may be dealing with, negative thoughts and even of life-ending moments. you go to sleep and you wake up. And I think so many times you have to remember, just go to sleep and wake up.
You know, and it's funny, Tony, I have to interject and say, you know, a lot of people and entrepreneurs, like you said, and I want to get into that mindset because I know you're an expert in this realm, but a lot of entrepreneurs are always thinking way down the road. What do I do in 3 months from now, 6 months from now, a year from now? And I will tell you, I look into this screen for entrepreneurs that are growing their business, maybe to sell their business, and sometimes the best decision is to just take it day by day, moment by moment, and create a more myopic perspective, much smaller vantage point instead of feeling overwhelmed. So I love the way you broke it down day by day and just that next step in waking up. So go back, you know, we were talking before you showed up as you came running in here today, and I'm so glad to have you on the show because it's been weeks of us getting you onto the program. But in the past 24 hours, you've been on a plane from California, handling a business meeting late last night, taking care of some other stuff today, and you talked about being overwhelmed as an entrepreneur, but how you handle that overwhelmedness. What's your recommendation for our listeners as they are feeling overwhelmed every day?
Don't quit. I mean, I know it sounds so simple, but don't quit. You know, it's that same mindset. It's kind of going back to where you were talking about taking it day by day. I love this conversation. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And it's that mindset of, you show up and you realize what you have to do. You realize what's necessary. And I think the thing is where I kind of, like in my mindset where it really shifted, I get to do this. I don't have to do this, but I get to. And that's what the joy, and granted, even in the times where things that I may not like as much, but when I look at the bigger picture of where we're working towards, it's like when you feel yourself getting off track, you remember why. You remember the why. It's like when you feel like quitting, remember why you started. And I think as long as you keep that in the forefront, you keep that vision in front of you, you will continuously push towards where you're headed. And the thing is, before you realize it, like, oh man, we've crossed this milestone and now we've gotten to this milestone. And so that's the exciting part about, really being able to just kind of go after it and go get it. So.
Well, not everybody, Tony, has that internal fire and drive like you do. And you do, and that is organic, and that is you. But what recommendations would you share with viewers out there who say, look, I sometimes don't feel like that. Do you have other people, Tony, that you lean on? Do you lean on others for guidance? What would you recommend for someone that says, I appreciate what Tony's saying, but I don't have that internal inside of me?
I think, and the first thing I would tell you, that's okay. Because you have to acknowledge where you are. To get anywhere where you're trying to go, you have to say, you know what, it's like the maps you see in the malls, or used to be before they became digital. But you'll say, for instance, if you're trying to go to this big department store, it's great to know where it is, but if you don't know where you are, you don't know the turns and things that you have to take to even get there.
Tony, the map where it says you are here, there's a little arrow with it. That's an amazing reference.
Exactly. So you have to know where you are to get to where you're trying to go. And that's the thing. It's like, well, I don't have that internal fire. Okay, that's fine. And it may be in a friend. It may, like, one of the coolest things that happened to me when I headed to California earlier this week, my best friend literally showed up in the airport. We were on the same plane, sat right beside each other.
Wait, this is by coincidence?
By coincidence. We had nothing planned. Like, he actually lives in Richmond, Virginia now. I live here in Atlanta, and we talk back and forth, but it's like, he got a life, I got a life, and it's just like, when we catch up, we can catch up. But for us to be on a 4-hour flight together, just and literally sitting beside each other, we both got aisle seats, and it was just cool. We picked up right where we always leave off.
Wait, so you were randomly on the plane?
On the plane.
Randomly on 2 aisle seats.
Yep.
He could have been 7 rows behind you. You would have never seen him.
Yep.
Maybe even 4 rows behind you. Well, you're noticeable with the delicious beard. You'd have to be 20 rows back there or in front of you to not have to see that deliciousness on your face. But you were literally right next to each other.
Yeah, we're literally right next to each other, right there at the front. And it's funny because those are the moments of energy, sometimes, or energizing, if you will. Sometimes you need to connect to the people that are in your circle that that root for you, right? And I think those are necessary. There are, people talk about all the time, you may have enough friends that fit on one hand, but as long as you got those friends, those are the ones that that can help you push through. And it's one of those things where I reflect a lot on the people that I'm connected to. People like yourself, like people that are in my circle, people that inspire me, and people that that I root for them just as much as they root for me. And I think what's so amazing about that is that when you have an opportunity to cheer other people on, you'll find yourself being cheered on either by, kind of extending the grace, gratitude, and favor that you have for them. You see somebody else actually pushing the same thing for you. So it's that cyclical effect. And I think that's the other thing too. Is like, how do you get out of funk? Well, it's like, you do what you need to do, but help somebody else. Because what's going to happen at some point, you'll either start to help yourself out, or you'll see other people actually helping you out in that same process.
Well, so segue into this, because the roadmap is not just about growing, scaling, and entrepreneurship, but it's that final chapter where someone says, it's time for me to exit out of my business. And you haven't exited yet, but you've actually had people approach you about your brands, your scents, your candles, which are amazing, by the way. And ever since you gave me the samples, I cannot stop with them. And the names are extraordinary, and I do recommend people going to see that. But you've actually had people proactively come to you to either be a wholesaler or even buy your company.
They want to buy us out.
Tell us a little about that story of how that happened and why you made the decision not to engage that now.
Well, it came along from the aspect of people trying the product. They enjoyed it. So, I tell people all the time, make something great. If you make it great, people will want it. Now the question is, how do we want to be able to distribute it to them? And so for us, it's really one of those, it may be no today, but it may, or just maybe not now. And that's okay. Because for me, we want to build it up bigger. We want to get, we want to be even better, even greater, because I know what we have. I know the value that's there. And so because of that, I'm not willing to sell ourselves short for what I know that it is. And I think that's the one thing too, is like you have to recognize your value. So many times in general, people are looking for a deal to be able to get a higher value when they don't have to pay for the value, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, well, it's all about timing.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
We talk about that at ESL, which is, when someone comes to our organization to help promote them to sell, it may not be the right time because we can take a look at books and where the product is, and someone's just trying to get a deal and get you early. Instead of knowing, hey, I need to get my books and what's my trajectory, right? So this was an early type of purchase.
Oh, absolutely.
You see much more runway and more of a hockey stick curve in your organization.
Well, yeah, because you realize we haven't done all we can do yet. And so because I know that, that's why I'm not willing to even, and I'll entertain it because it's like, okay, yeah, I want what we got. But at the same time, I also realize we haven't exhausted all of our resources. Yeah. And for me, I think, we will exit when I know we have not necessarily nothing left in the tank, but when I know that I've completed my responsibility and assignment as it relates to this.
So, when you're running with jet fuel and you're burning bright, a lot of people say, and like you said, you caught yourself. You don't want to sell your business when you're running out of gas because who wants to buy it then? You want to run it, you want to sell it when it's in this amazing trajectory and you can feel that you're on the way there. So you were talking about you had a recent candle that you re-released.
Yeah. So the re-release one we had is Yacht Club, which is one of my favorites. Yacht Club is my ode to Miami. Miami is one of my favorite cities in the contiguous 48 states because it's like being international, not being international, but I love Miami. So Yacht Club itself is like citrus in the sea. So we have a good time. We release
Citrus in the sea.
Citrus in the sea. It's just great. It's got some blood orange in it. It's awesome. So we released that one or re-released it. We sold out as soon as we put it out because we have a lot of our clients and stuff. Yacht Club is a fan. I mean, it's pretty cool. Not gonna lie. And then every month or so, not every month, but every quarter or so, we release a new fragrance. So one of the ones we were testing about a week ago is actually our new one. I'm big into chess. It's funny. I was even playing chess on the plane. I enjoy chess. But we have a new fragrance called Black Knight.
Oh,
yeah, which is good. I have to make sure I get you one. But
you're not getting Martin Lawrence isn't promoting that one.
I know, right?
The name of his movie, I think.
Yeah, he did have a movie with that. But yeah, it was like it's kind of based a little bit off chess, but it is a white musk and oud. So it is amazing. I mean It's good. I'm not even gonna lie. It's good. It's really good. So we were testing it. So anytime that we do anything before I do a major rollout, we always do. Hey, let's test it. Let's just check the market. I know I liked it because I'm quality control. I'm like, if I like it, hey, I know it's good, but let me just find out what the people think. So it's a big thing for us, and it was a big win, and I'm pretty excited about it.
I will tell you, 15 minutes flies by like this. Yeah. It's unbelievable. Thank you for coming all the way out today, Tony.
My pleasure.
So a few things. Yeah. If people want to get in touch with you, number one, for the energy.
Yeah.
For maybe making you one of their 5 friends or associates that they might need because they might not have that inside of them. Yeah. What's the best way for them to get in touch?
They can always find me online. Go to www.meet, that's MEET, Tony, Tony, Rouse, Rouse.com. Also, that's our handles for Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or X, whatever the name goes by now. We're all there, social media, and all that kind of good stuff.
I almost started singing M-O-U-S-E. As you were spelling out R-O-U-S-E, it made me think of the Mickey Mouse Club.
I have an uncle named Mickey. So we actually, M-I-C-R-O, yeah, exactly. So it's the whole thing. Yes.
Was he picked on for years?
Not necessarily. So his real name is Mark, but he goes by Mickey, and he's always been Uncle Mickey. Uncle Mickey's one of the coolest things. Actually, shouts out to Uncle Mickey, Aunt Janice. Y'all's umbrellas are on the way, so I got y'all. Yeah. Shouts out to the fam. Well, no, we just released a lot of umbrellas. Like we have, they're amazing. They're custom. They're 62-inch. They're full-size golf umbrellas. Yeah.
Wow.
They're nice.
Guys, listen, ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you, stay tight with this man. Go look up his website. If it's not this, it's that, it's something else. And I know for a certainty, whatever it is you touch is magic. Tony, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Absolutely. Lee, thank you for having me.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us today. I hope the show was insightful for you. We hope to see you again next week on another episode of The Road.
Thanks for watching The Roadmap with Lee Heisman.